What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Paul Hall and 10th Man in G+, together with a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Hello, hello, hello.
Good morning, good afternoon, welcome. Good to have you all. Let's hopefully get a bit more participation from the Discord server with today's housekeeping questions. Let's see how we get on. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon that's formerly known as Earth curvature, asserted in Earth curve calculators, and so on and so forth? Any evidence of that physical geometric sphere edge horizon?
Place where boats used to disappear, is that what you mean?
It's the thing they used to claim was blocking boats and buildings, Neil, yes. Earth curve.
Haven't seen any.
Not from Griffith Park
they even say now that
either.
you can't even see the geometric horizon.
Yes, we're told we can't see it, that's right. Is that it? So, no evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as Earth curve then. Just being told we can't see it.
Well, I mean, you've heard this before, so let's do it. Well, if you can't see it, how do you know it's there?
Well, it isn't. We're being told we can't see it.
That's what I'm saying.
Al-Baruni measured it.
No, he
What's
didn't.
wrong
He
with
couldn't
you?
see it. That's the undoing of their argument. That's the part where they say, here's the geometric horizon that only exists in the maths and cannot be seen and cannot be measured. But in this part of the story, Al-Baruni measures it because he can see it. That's just where the story unpacks itself.
Well, maybe you got within 5%.
Of a point you can't see.
Yeah,
How do you know he got within 5% of it?
because he couldn't see it.
Because he couldn't see
So
it.
right, so they had to pick a percentage of what he couldn't see, and they felt 5% with the 7/6R would be close enough.
And what was it that he couldn't see?
He was measuring.
What he was measuring, you
horizon.
say? Hold on, 10th. Say that again from Discord.
What he couldn't see what he was measuring.
So he was measuring a geometric horizon, but he couldn't see it. But apparently he came within 5% of it because he was measuring it and couldn't see it. Therefore, he came within 5% of something that couldn't be seen and only exists in the maths. It hasn't been measured yet because it can't be seen, but he's looking at it and measuring it to give the maths to base it on. Right. We all clear?
Really clear. Created a story where it should be and made the maths match up to 5% of that.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make any
So-
sense. That's correct, Neil.
Well, that's a good
You're supposed to
ridicule
be on
right
the-
there.
on the
Talking about
bottom.
ridicule, who'd want to be a part of that story?
Zealots, once it's pointed out to them in those terms. Moving on. Any evidence of axial... Hey, Arwin. Any
Hello.
evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No. Only on the globe reunification model.
Let's just get it out of the way so Arwen doesn't have to do it impeded about 3 times during the show. So subscribe today to the Flat Earth Early Bird on Arwen channel, ARWIJN, 1 p.m. Amsterdam time. No,
2 p.m. Amsterdam
2 p.m.
time.
Amsterdam
1 p.m.
time.
London.
1 p.m. London time. And about 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. So be here or be sphere for Arwen. There you go. Now you don't have to do it throughout the show.
Okay, thanks. And by the way, yeah, I just had my 600th show.
Woohoo! 600 Arwens.
Mm-hmm.
Early birds.
Great.
What was only in the, Travis, what was only in the globe reification model? I forget. Remind me. Most things.
Well, it's
spin.
Spin.
Or it's spinning on its axis.
Fair enough.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Arwen. Any evidence?
Okay.
Any scientific evidence?
Hang on. Before
I was
you move
still
on.
responding.
Oh, I asked Travis, but I had to cut you off because Travis was responding. But go ahead, Arwen.
Right. So, yeah, we as flat earthers know the typical natural consequences of the reification of the globe and it's spinning and what the natural consequences are. But the ballers themselves are within their presupposition overlooking it because they're always telling us how there is no sign of any kind of motion. You know, the atmosphere is moving in lockstep. You just don't see any of it. Although still there are people that claim that throwing a football actually is involved with Coriolis effect and all that. But with the people that we talk to that are supposedly fighting in the trenches, they don't even claim it anymore. Which is very odd because they should if they took their model very serious.
Well, are you saying, Arwen, that this is Al-Biruni's second non-verifiable test?
We were
isn't
talking about
Al-Biruni.
the Earth motion, right?
No, this isn't Al-Biruni.
Well, I mean,
You think
no,
maybe
I know. I'm overlaying a very common. You said Al-Biruni
I did.
couldn't see it, but he measured it, but he couldn't see it, or stated that he did. So it's obviously going to fall apart. The Earth is moving, but we don't feel it, but it's moving. It's going to fall apart. There's 2 in a row of the same kind of nonsense is what I'm
Correct.
trying to tie.
That's correct, and that's why they're both top 3 in terms of just completely obliterating the idea of being on a flying water ball in a vacuum that spins. Well, to debunk it, you've got 3 prongs, right? You've got the spinning aspect, you've got the curve, i.e. the fact that they claim it's a ball, and you've got being in a vacuum. Well, top 3, debunking, as Arwen has just done, the claim of spin. You've got to have an effect that you can observe that proves it, and that would be Coriolis. Hence, it's asserted by the Neil deGrasse Tysons, because that is the rhetoric. You have this observable Coriolis deviation caused with spinning, according to the claim. Well, that's an effect that we should observe, but that's got consequences. If you've got Earth turning underneath things, giving you an apparent deviation from the ground, i.e. you look up at something in the air and it seems to take a curved path because you're spinning underneath it, well, that means you're spinning underneath stuff in the air. Shortening flight times and having drones drift away from you, none of that happens. So the consequences they deny in the trenches, as Arwen detailed. They tell us all about how we wouldn't see that effect, the very effect that's supposed to be proving they're spinning. Therein lies the demolition. So Coriolis effect becomes a top 3 globe debunking. And what do you know? It's like when I detailed the dome earlier. It's just something that gets reversed and put against us. You know, well, you proved why we would have a demonstrable Coriolis effect when they're travelling as one, velcroed together, even though, again, unbonded gas doesn't get velcroed to an Earth that's spinning, to not give you Coriolis deviation that you need to prove it's spinning. So we get challenged to give them an example that's not Coriolis effect. Well, why do we have a guy running up and down a train or a plane and throwing a ball and it not drifting? Well, you're supposed to have drift if you're proving it spins, and you're supposed to be observing it from the spinning reference frame, not in something that's a bullet that you might be observing to have Coriolis effect. So, you know, this cluster screw has been very concisely detailed by Arwen. At trench level, they tell us how we won't have Coriolis. And at priest level, Neil deGrasse Tyson level, they tell you how you will have and do have Coriolis to prove you're spinning. But it's just the contradiction that we have to highlight as a top 3 debunking of the globe. You know, number 1 on the list being Black Swan. If it's a globe, you've got curve, you've got a physical sphere edge. No, you haven't. Black Swan debunks it. So we're told with a hand wave we don't have one. End of globe model. But further to that, we don't have any spin. There's no Coriolis deviation, even though that's the precise thing they claim they should have and would have and need to have, but don't have. So, last but not means least is gas pressure without a container. We haven't covered it in housekeeping yet. Is there any evidence, as it's a top three, that you can have gas pressure, i.e. gas pressing on stuff, without anything for it to press upon, i.e. a container, the necessary antecedent? So, given that they claim sky, vacuum, can you have that? Or is it definitely still a violation of the second law of thermodynamics, the entropy law?
It's not only that, Nathan, it's also mathematically impossible. How about that? You can't calculate gas pressure without incorporating the container within the calculation. Isn't that just amazing?
Yeah, the guy who's the scuba diver pointed that out with Boyle's law. He's like, well, when he was explaining how the sky can't be a vacuum to one of his scuba friends, he's like, well, you know about Boyle's law? And the guy's like, yeah, it's scuba diving 101, right? He's like, well, apply that to the gas that we have that we're breathing, and then take the volume to be the sky vacuum. How are you going to work out Boyle's law, given that you need a container to give you the inverse proportions of how much pressure you're going to have? So what are you going to do if you don't have the containment bit? Well, how do I calculate it? You don't. That's the answer. Correct, Darwin?
Yep. So yeah, when they say math is reality, you just have to remind them of this. They'll screw them over.
Nathan, can you hear me?
Yes, whoever that is. Who is that?
Yeah, Moostone.
Moostone, good to have you.
Oh, thanks. So are you covering the gas pressure question? Housekeeping?
Right now, yeah.
Are you... Okay, so can I just play the baller?
Push can. Feel free. No one else is.
Yeah, I mean, it does say that, if I take this one of the citations from what QE said, and it's on his it's from sciencelearn.org. It's from one of the citations on his website. He says the gas, if the container is not sealed, the gas will escape, but it doesn't say in how much time it's going to escape. So, I mean, perhaps it is escaping, and it does seem to me that the rhetoric is that gas is escaping, because there's also another citation that I and QE cited this as well, the fact that Earth loses hundreds of tons of atmosphere to space every day. So, I mean, perhaps we are in a situation where gas is filling the available volume, but because, as you state, the gas is created at ground level, well, simply it's being created, on and on, and it is dissipating in the vacuum of space, but simply perhaps not fast enough that we're out of air. So
I see.
That makes no sense.
Why not?
So first point, how you would calculate the time in terms of your, for example, pipe open container and how much will dissipate. Well, the entropy is directly proportional to time. That's how you would calculate it. That's what the second law of thermodynamics gives you, how you can actually quantify that. It's a description of the process of that gas filling the space, which it must do. That is the essence of entropy. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to say, if the sky was a vacuum, a little bit of gas would fill it. Well, to address that, so we have gas pressure here. How did we first acquire that gas pressure? How did we first get to the point where we have a gas pressure if the sky is a vacuum?
Can I respond to that? So, I mean, you know the story very well, don't you understand? I mean, it's when Thea exploded, and there was obviously when these massive explosions occurred at the creation of Earth. I mean, there was obviously a lot of tons and tons of gas were created at that point, and so by the time they obviously didn't have the time to fully dissipate. Surely a lot of it dissipated at the time in the vacuum of space, but not everything.
Sounds like a bullshit story to me.
Uh,
That's
hold
the
on.
origin story of the rebellious
So,
gas
hold on.
particles, man.
That's a lovely story. But to reiterate my question, or to repeat it, how did you acquire the gas pressure in the first place? So Thea smashes into Earth, lots of gas generated.
just told
Okay,
you.
lots of
Yeah.
unbonded gas particles being generated. Okay, let's just entertain this just so story for a moment. Okay, from there, all this gas is just out there. How does it become pressure? How does that happen? How do you first get the gas pressure?
Well, I mean, the gas is there, right? I mean, it gently dissipates into the vacuum of space.
You're just telling me again about how the entropy law would apply and how it would dissipate to fill the volume. Yeah, we know that. That's the second law of thermodynamics. We've got all that. But what I'm asking is, how do we get the gas pressure in the first place? Let's ask a different question. What is gas pressure? Or what is pressure?
No. You're moving the goalposts there, Nathan.
No, I'm just defining terms.
Well, we all know that gas pressure is defined by. Actually, I forgot. I have a bit of humility here. I forgot, but it has.
No worries. The force exerted on the walls of a container, or its container in the case of gas. So the force exerted on the walls of its container would be the gas's gas pressure. My point is, to have the gas pressure, you must first have containment. First containment, then gas pressure. So if you were to say, well, a little bit of the gas pressure is leaking out into space, into the volume that's available to it, well, how did that gas pressure first form before we get to this idea that we've just got it and a little bit of it's getting away, not just dissipating at vast rates in line with entropy, given that it's a gas trying to expand in all directions, and it would instantaneously fill the volume of space. But brushing past that, how do we get the gas pressure in the first place?
I don't know.
My God, I'm getting interrupted.
Nathan, I think he's trying to suggest that
I don't know.
the amount of
Can I answer?
dissipation of the
No,
gas
Arwen won't
is
let you.
equalized
Arwen
by
won't
the
let you.
ground.
You're interrupting me. Arwen's interrupting me. You're now interrupting Arwen.
Okay. I think he was trying to suggest that.
Can we find out what he's trying to suggest rather than you divining it? Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be quick. I promise. So look, I mean, the answer to you, Nathan, is I don't know. But it seems to me that you've sort of whistled past my.
You don't know how we get the gas pressure. Oh, I do. I do, though.
Yeah.
It's an interesting that you'd have a question to follow up with for me, but I know how. We'd need containment. It's an antecedent-consequent relationship. Without the container, there can be no pressure. So I'm saying, given that your story of Thea didn't have any containment, we wouldn't achieve gas pressure for you to have this just-so story of a little bit of it escaping.
Well, maybe a lot of it escaped, but still.
All of it would escape because it would never develop in the first place if you didn't have containment. You'd never develop gas pressure to begin with. Without the container, there can be no pressure. So in this scenario, there'll never be any attainable gas pressure because there's no containment. So where do we get the gas pressure from in the first place? Well, we wouldn't, that is the answer. But we definitely have gas pressure.
So I understand. I see your point, but wait, what are you then suggesting that it would be impossible? I mean, if we just entertain the Thea story, where there's these massive explosions, so you're saying that everything would instantaneously dissipate into space?
Yeah, without the container, there can be no pressure. The gas that's developed by this mass explosion in this just-so story of Thea is just going to dissipate into whatever volume it has available. It's not going to suddenly decide, hey, you know that rock down there with an exposed core because Thea smashed into it? I'm just going to hang around here. That's not how gas behaves.
Will dissipate in time, Nathan, don't you?
Yeah. In time. Proportional to time. It's quantifiable with the second law of thermodynamics. That's correct. It's called entropy. Proportional to time.
After this massive explosion, supposed explosion that you're talking about, what do you think would keep the gas remain on the outside of this ball that just got hit after this explosion
Oh, nothing.
in a vacuum?
Nothing.
So then,
Nothing.
how would we have
Dissipating.
any gas pressure if it would all just dissipate?
Yeah.
As all this is happening,
It's just
in a
taking
vacuum.
time to dissipate. That's all. Don't you understand?
Yeah, taking time to dissipate, but not taking its time
Yes.
to develop gas pressure. That's our point. So, yeah, you keep describing our point, which is that it would dissipate, but you need it to form
Yes.
gas pressure, all hang around together pressing on stuff.
Right.
Well,
and
while it's
technically-
dissipating, it's still pressing, right? It's going in all
What was
directions.
it? Ah, perfect.
No, it's
got
got
it there in the
explosion.
end. What's it pressing on? Exactly. Given that it's expanding
Well,
in
on
all directions with all vectors, what's it pressing on?
Well, on everything, in the vacuum and on
There's
Earth
nothing
as
to
well,
press
huh?
on. What do you mean pressing on everything? There's nothing to press on. It's just a space
It's
for it to
going in
fill.
all directions.
You're missing the container part, buddy.
Yeah, it needs a
Right.
container.
It's going in all directions.
The amount of
Is it
force
not going in all
that will
directions?
expand-
Yeah, dissipating.
It's exploding.
Not forming pressure. That's right. Expanding in all directions, not forming pressure.
It only forms the pressure when it hits the container.
And it moves with
Mm.
great force thanks to Boyle's law, because if you're gonna make the container the outer space universe, that's insanely large. So it becomes an extreme number. And with extreme numbers, Boyle's law calculation, extreme forces are applied to the expanding gas.
That's right. With extreme forces come extreme responsibilities. Don't you forget it.
Sure.
No, but you don't understand. Are you saying that gas that is dissipating
Who
is not
doesn't
breathable?
understand?
Well, it's gone. How are you going to breathe it? It's gone. We'd be dead.
Well, it's not. It's not yet gone. It's not yet gone. It's it will be gone eventually.
Very,
but
very
it
quickly. That's what
will.
Arwin's just explained
It
with Boyle's
will.
law to you. Did you not listen to what Arwin
Okay.
just said? I know you're playing devil's advocate, Moose Tony. This is good fun, by the way. Arwin just
I'm
explained
just
it.
trying to anticipate their argument.
If you take the volume to be space,
I think he's serious.
if you take the volume...
No, I'm not serious.
Can you stop rumpusing? Hello? You've ignored Arwin's point, so rather than you just constantly interrupting me, I'll get Arwin to repeat it. Hopefully you won't interrupt him. Arwin, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just trying to explain. You're dealing with trying to figure out gas pressure. So if you're going to calculate the gas pressure on a ball Earth in the container of outer space universe, which would have to be the container, or you couldn't be able to make a calculation for the gas pressure, then that container is extremely large, which will cause extreme forces for the gas pressure expansion within the entire container. So extreme force in the gas pressure expansion is a natural consequence of Boyle's law due to the insane size of the presumed container in that scenario.
Exactly. So a high
Okay,
level
so-
of entropy, a short period of time. Hold on. Short period of time, high increase of entropy.
I have
Okay.
a question.
Okay, but can we just calculate? I mean, how much time it would take to dissipate?
Yeah, we postulated this a few shows ago, maybe about a month ago, and we had arguments that it might take as much as, I don't know, 10 minutes for every molecule of gas to piss off into space and every single sodding bit of water on the planet, claimed to be spherical, to vaporize and disappear entirely. Now, I would say 10 minutes? Nah, more like 3 seconds. But let's put it this way. If the sky was a vacuum, we would definitely have no gas. We would definitely have no water. The whole lot would vanish. I would say instantaneously, meaning within a few seconds, everything's gone. Because you've just got this massive volume available to the gas for it to fill. And fill it must.
Yeah, and by the way,
Okay.
the 10-minute estimation is based on a vantage point where everything that we know is still there. If it never got the opportunity to form that way, it would be half a second probably.
Yeah, that's a good disclaimer, Arwin. So in other words, to take that 10-minute example would mean you've got Druidia with its dome around it. So you've got the capability of the gas to form in the way we experience it. And then you just remove the container. Like, pop, there it goes, it's gone. And then 10 minutes later, Everything, including every drop of ocean, has vaporized in that scenario. Now, I'm saying that, given your theory hasn't even got any gas pressure in your example, it would never develop in the first place. It's not hypothetically got a Druidia dome around the whole bloody planet that doesn't exist and isn't feasible because we've debunked the R value. No, you'd never have that opportunity for this 10-minute elapsed duration for entropy to take hold, for the entropy increase to dissipate everything we ever see that's worthy of turning into gas. That would happen. It's not a question of how long. It's like, yeah, we would all be dead right now. None of us would be breathing if the sky was a vacuum.
Okay, well, can I just closure on this? One of us doesn't understand. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I got this idea from it was a few years ago. A debate from a few years ago. I think it was in the UK. Between, well, I just don't remember who it was, but on the globe side, they were actually claiming that. Well, exactly what I said. So you have gas that is escaping, but by the time it's escaped, some new gas has been formed at ground level. Which is why we still have enough gas and to breathe.
That's retarded.
Well, there's only one way for that to be possible, and that is that the amount of gas that would be produced here on Earth would then relatively rapidly have to be sufficient to fill the entire universe and keep on going. Then we would literally be the central point of gas pressure for the entire universe, the spawning point of it.
So we'd live
Probably
in a giant wind
generate
tunnel.
quite a lot of wind, right? If we were filling what they claim is the available volume, i.e. outer space sky vacuum, with gas, that would mean we were pumping it out at such a rate to keep it. It's just so preposterous. Anyway, I'm just going to do a quick shout out to Tony. Is it Shuka? I hope I'm saying that right, but huge fan, but rarely live. Oh, well, thank you very much for joining us live, Troy. My bad. So here's my chance to contribute. You guys are the tip of the spear with hilarious entertainment and modest too. God bless. I wholeheartedly agree, Troy. I often note how modest I am and encourage others to compliment me on my modesty. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Thank you. I'll mention it again. I am extremely modest. I'd just like you to all know that.
So modest.
So modest. Thank you. Hold on, everyone shut up. Chocolate. Hold on, that's enough talk about me. Chocolate, can you talk about me?
You're just dripping with modesty, brother.
Thank you. I think we should talk about this for a little
I
while.
think we need to explain antecedent.
Humble. We should dwell on that for a while.
I think
No, enough
that's the
sarcasm.
modest Tolan's argument.
Unmute Brian, says Unitox Vemu. Where's Brian? Brian muted? Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Brian.
Thank you.
No worries. My pleasure.
I think you need to explain antecedent again.
I think we all get...
I've got a bit of a teaser.
Go on.
Do you have to have a container to have a vacuum?
That's correct. Yes, you do.
Yep.
So is space contained?
They say it's ever expanding and infinite. It's kind of a contradiction in its own description.
So what you're saying is to have absolutely nothing, you have to have a container.
And to have a vacuum.
Yes.
Can you create a vacuum chamber without a chamber, Highlander?
Listen, this whole heliocentric model falls apart right here.
So for us to have a vacuum in a pressurized system, then yeah, you would need a container.
You know of any other system? What other system do you know of? We only experience that. That's all we have to go on.
But what you're saying is to have a void of anything, to have absolutely nothing, you have to have a container.
What, like a vacuum? Yes, that's correct. You'd need a container for that. Based on the experience we all have, to remove the gas pressure that we all experience, you'd require containment. And nature abhors a vacuum, so there are no natural examples of this. So therefore, to acquire this state, you would need to manufacture it with a container to achieve it. Shout out to Cleary, who says, Bob did slanderous piece on you. I don't know which Bob you're referring to, Cleary. But yeah. Okay. Happy days. Thanks for the advert.
So just so that I've got this right, okay, to have gas on the Earth, you have to have a container, and on the other side of the container where there's absolutely nothing, you have to have a container to contain that nothing.
What do you mean on the other side of the container? Number one, right, we don't know what the sky is. We're describing just merely how gas behaves by way of natural law. So the way gas behaves is that it requires, it's an antecedent consequent relationship, containment. That's how gas behaves. Now, in that statement, I don't make any claims about what the sky is. I certainly don't make a claim that has a sky that's got a nothing beyond it. That's not a claim that anybody here makes. You've just made that crap up.
Right. So you've just claimed that there is something on the other side of your container then?
No, you're going to get kicked out if you completely rearrange what I have said and give me the contrapositive of my statement. Absolutely not. Number one, we describe gas behaviour. And gas behaviour is such that it requires containment to be gas pressure. That is not in any way describing what the heavens, the sky, what you think is outer space. It's not describing any of those things. However, as a byproduct of describing gas pressure, with its consequent and antecedent relationship with a container, it automatically debunks the notion that you have a sky vacuum. Now, it doesn't leave me any necessity to assert what the sky is, but I definitely know what it is not. Definitely not a vacuum.
But can I just respond to that? Right. Just 2 seconds ago, you said to have gas pressure, you must have a container.
That's correct.
To have absolutely nothing, yeah, you must have a container for that. Right?
Nobody said absolutely nothing. To have a vacuum, it's a specific description. You can have varying degrees of this state called vacuum. And to have that state, you would require containment. That's right. To have gas pressure containment, to have vacuum containment. Yes, you've clarified it 3 times.
No, you haven't let me finish responding to what you said, right?
So all you've done is clarify what we've said, and we're agreeing. Yes, you have clarified the position described in many natural laws accurately. Well done.
You won't let me finish because you know where this is going, Nathan.
What do you mean won't let you finish? Every time you get the mic, you moan about not getting to finish. All you've done is reiterate our point and ask us if that's correct, and I've said yes, and then reiterated it again. So what? You haven't got a point so far. You haven't made any point. You've just reasserted what we've said and detailed it back to us.
That's because you keep interrupting me, Nathan. If you let me finish, right? So according to you, the Earth must have a container, right?
No, that's what you've just stated. You've just stated that. I state the following. You've just decided to change it with your statement. So you're stating that the Earth must have containment. I say to have gas pressure, we must have containment. That's a very different statement. There's a subtle difference there.
And we have gas pressure, yes?
And therefore,
according to you, there must be a container.
That's according to you. You've just made that statement. I vaguely remember you doing this about 6 months ago. That's your statement, though, isn't it? You've just made that conclusion. I led you, because you're dumb, with therefore, and then you made the statement, but decided to verbalise it like it's a quote from me. Which it isn't. It's your statement.
You've never said that we must have a container to be able to breathe the gas that we breathe.
Oh, absolutely. To have gas pressure, we must have containment. Still not hearing the subtle difference, though, are you? You're thick.
Therefore, the Earth must have what, Nathan? According to you, therefore, the Earth must have what? A container.
Well, that's your statement. You've just made it for the 3rd time in a row. You've made that statement. Yeah, you've drawn the conclusion. Get him, Fundies! He's making it clear to my audience that you need containment to have gas pressure. Earth needs that containment. He's made that statement 3 times. Get him!
Yeah, that's your statement, Nathan, not mine.
Why do you keep saying you're saying it when it's you literally putting those words into your mic?
No, that's your statement.
Why are you going to keep doing this, right? I'm going to kick you out if you keep telling me what's my statement after you make the statement. It's not my statement. You're saying it, not me.
Why won't you answer the question then? Does the Earth have a container? Yes or no?
Oh, in order to have gas pressure, which we definitely have, we must have containment.
Right, so that's yes then.
Yeah.
So is that your point? Wow, that was worth the effort. Well, I'm glad we all agree. In order to have gas pressure, we must have the necessary antecedent of containment. We've all got clarity, and the Fundy agrees with us. Excellent, so we're all in agreement. Your point was wonderful. Thank you so much for your input.
Good job, Highlander.
Excellent work. Glad we all agree. Yes, that's correct. In order to have gas pressure, which we definitely have, I'm breathing it, we must have containment. Well done. This has been very educational.
Right.
I feel learned.
On the other side of your container, not
what, the one that you've just asserted that Earth must have to have gas pressure? On the other side of this hypothetical container, you've verbalised, you've detailed, but claimed I'm saying, even though the words are coming out of your mouth. And now this idea of the container we must have that you've detailed has an other side to it. No, mate, I definitely don't assert what the sky is, which is what you're now deciding to make my words that are your words. Don't do that.
You're saying the Earth
Don't do that. I'm not saying this. If you say one more time that I'm saying this, I'm going to kick you out. Stop putting words in my mouth. That's not very reasonable.
So why won't you answer the question?
You're not asking a question. You're making a statement about gas pressure and its necessary antecedent of containment. You then go on to say, I've said it. It's not a question. That's a statement of fact.
What's your tactic here? Like, do you have some type of a counterclaim to that? Or, I mean, I don't understand.
It doesn't.
What are you doing?
Asking me why I haven't answered a question which hasn't came. So,
asking me about Nathan's words, but you're saying Nathan's words. Are you Nathan?
Yeah, what he needs is a nice little straw man where I put a dome over the world and he asks me about what's on the other side of it. But he needs me to make the claim. Now, he's tried on 4 separate occasions to put those words in my mouth by saying, you say, and then verbalising something himself. Now, he's not going to get away with it. It's a cheap tactic that's never going to work, but he'll keep doing it indefinitely. Eventually, I'll tell him off after we've had our fun with him.
He's been trying for a long time.
Yeah, he tried it about 6 months ago.
You tell me that we can't have gas pressure without a container.
That's correct! I am telling you, it's natural law. It's very well established. It's taught in universities that without the container, there can be no pressure. That's right. Why aren't you answering that question about how you can have a sky vacuum? Why aren't you answering that?
Why
aren't you answering the redundancy of a sky vacuum given that natural law dictates that the gas would fill it? Why aren't you answering that?
Why won't you answer?
Why aren't you answering that? Why do you keep asking me something? You haven't asked a question. You've reiterated the statement of fact dictated by natural law, and then you ask me why I'm not answering something, which you haven't asked. But I am asking you why you believe in the sky vacuum, given that natural law dictates the gas would fill the space. Why aren't you answering that?
I never said the sky was a vacuum.
I'm saying it, and I'm asking you to answer it. You don't have to ask and answer your own questions here.
You said the sky was a vacuum, Nathan, not me.
Oh, really? So that's where you get ejected. I said the sky is a vacuum. No, fundamentally, arse about face. I say the complete opposite of that. I say the sky is not a vacuum because the gas we breathe would fill it. So why are you saying that your belief in a sky vacuum out of space is my claim now? No, I do not say that.
When have I ever said...
Why do I care what you've said when you've just claimed I claim the sky is a vacuum? No, you just need your fundy fuck belief to be coming out of my mouth and it's not going to.
It's funny how you make all these claims, but you won't
answer. Off, get out.
What the hell?
Get out.
No,
Stupid
he can't.
wanker.
I think his double thing got the better of him.
All he wants to do is come here to laugh at us while he puts his projection onto us like all of them. And when he's demonstrated to be a clown, he has a little chuckle.
No, that's that nervous, defeated laugh.
He can't. All right. He came in when someone said, you even need a container to create a vacuum. And his own side, NASA, validates that with the Sandusky vacuum chamber.
Next, Highlanders are moron, vacuum guys are moron. That's what we're dealing with, morons. This is the level we get. Hey, Chemo. Well, hello there, Nathan. Oh, good to have you, Chemo. Well, jolly good to be here.
Sorry, I was just dashing to the mute button. How's it going?
Dealing with fundies, same old, same old.
What's up, Chemo?
Yeah, they're pretty much done and dusted. Just about everywhere now. We've disposed of Fight the Flat Earth. He doesn't want to take on any seasoned flat earthers. They're looking for the newcomer, the guy who has probably just come into flat Earth and is curious, doesn't understand the argument. Same thing over on a couple of the servers out there. They've given up. They know that they're defeated. They know that they have no science. I mean, they know this. It's not a case of them thinking it's still a bore. The ones that are involved, so they know it's not a bore. They know they don't have science. They just don't know what to do with themselves. They're absolutely exhausted. Mr. Scott Veach, as you know, the son of an astronaut, completely and utterly defeated. He's had enough. You bring up space to him, he will run a mile. He's done and dusted with that. You've seen that. He's just not ready to engage. And that is the mood. With a lot of
mile in the sneakers that they've done the science on, huh?
Look, it's a new feeling. I was on this morning over there, just outlining how the flat earthers we're in this, not alone, but you know, we have to try and bring the message forward. There's not a large group of us, and the idea is just to try and discredit us, so we kind of lose hope or lose heart or whatever it is with the message. Doesn't seem to work. You know, we've got so much information out there, so many people to talk to. It's just they don't seem to get this is an ongoing, everyday thing, occurrence. You know, they seem to think they can just enter into the fray, put forward their narrative, their preaching, their story, and we should just believe and accept. So, you know, we're going to see an interesting year this year, I think, is avoidance of the highest level. They're going to try to avoid well-seasoned flat earthers, simply because the embarrassment is just too much to bear. They just simply don't have the argument. So we're going to see that a lot. So unfortunately, Nathan, it's going to be like that. You're going to get like Highlander, for example, who, you know, he has no idea about where to begin with science, but yet, you know, he wants you to make claims so he can kind of knock you down, discredit you. That's the idea here. Again, this is the plan, is to discredit flat earthers in any way, shape, or form they can. Now, you know, all we can do is raise, you know, the awareness that we do, and just keep going and just show them that we will be the leaders of the new school. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say you're right. So we're here to expose that crap.
So, Chemo, are you saying that the heliocentric model can't handle the housekeeping questions?
They've had it. I mean, try to find a ball earther that can last 1 hour. You know, with these questions, it's rare. It's getting more rare, and not just like you might think. I mean, anywhere. I mean, I'm over at Gem, and you've got 20, 30, 40. Now, you might think that's a lot of ball earthers who, you know, have got a lot of information. None of them are equipped, are able. I mean, this is dark raven madness is what we're experiencing. How can this be? You know, and then none of them between 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 of these globe earthers can get together. And like just today, just this very hour ago, so one of the flat earthers had a question about saturation, about how the plants are saturated or something, you know, and this kind of got the ball earthers' appetites, you know, going a little bit. They tried to explain it with seasons and with the tilt of the globe. So between them, none of them could figure out what was the cause of this, and the axis tilt. So it's, the whole thing is just it's a mess, really. Like I say,
they
it's
might
almost
need a
like you have to
radius.
advertise a new audience somewhere around the world and say, look, are you aware that we've been lied to?
Hold on one sec.
It's like, because
Hold on
it
one sec,
seems we've only seemed to get
Chemo.
the internet people
Chemo.
What axis? What
Hold on, Neil. Licked Wink. Did you want to add something? You're just causing a load of audio chaos at the moment.
Litchwink. Hey, Litchwink. What's going on?
Didn't want to add any.
He's gone shy. He's from Germany, so I'm not sure. I mean, not that. I mean, his accent is. Litchwink, don't be shy. Come out.
I'm sure he will. It just wanted him to know he was causing audio chaos with his microwave open. Feel free to carry on, Chemo. That's all I wanted to do.
Yes. Yeah, Litchwink, for example, a great ball earther. I mean, again, I don't know why he doesn't engage, but he does it a little bit with me over there. But he saw the moon landing when he was 10, so on the television. So, that really indoctrinated Litchwink here, that the moon landings were real. Oh, he's gone now. So he's on the spot a little bit here. You see, that's the thing that they're under. They're under immense. It's just a total embarrassment. Who wants that in their life, right? To be embarrassed. It's not a very good feeling. And these guys have buckets of embarrassment. So, is he back? Obviously. But I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, as flat earthers, we need to get the word out there. But the ball earthers, I mean, before, when you say they're running scared, like, you kind of just say it as, like, they're just running, But literally right now, you can go to them, you can wait for them. You're not going to get an hour-long discussion without, someone freaking out.
Yeah, well, they're on the losing side of the argument. That's a painful position to be in.
Sorry, Nathan.
I was just going to say, for all the ridicule and that end of what we receive, I think in many aspects, you went over and discussed it earlier, Spurs, they're terrified that if they concede a point, suddenly they're going to have their own side ridiculing them. And we've seen it a couple of times where somebody's accepted a point and gone, oh yeah, I understand how that's not a reasonable argument to make. Their own side pretty much pounces on them.
Immediately. So there's a new guy in there. Well, he's relatively new. Jeremy, he goes in there. He's flat. He was on the face. He was on the fence, and then he became like a earther because of the way the Globers couldn't prove their claims, and so now they're all trying to correct him, trying to bring him back, trying to explain. Like, they love their angles. They're going to die by their angles, like the sword on their angles, which is not obviously a practical measurement. But
Spurs, can I ask
I don't know. I mean,
hold on, Spurs.
I think they're just
hold on, Spurs. Hold on. Go ahead, Chocolate.
Yeah, Spurs. I was wondering because I noticed that server now has a live stream up. So it seems like they want to get the message, the globe message out, I guess. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's their desperation that they've reached, or they're just trying to branch out, which I don't really understand since everyone already supposedly believes that we're on a spinning ball? I don't know.
Yes and no. I think Jem has wanted to get it out, live for a long time, and what we've seen is a lot more ball earther channels trying to debunk flat Earth. So we've got like the conspiracy cats, we've got the Simon Downs, you've got the Fight the Flat Earth, you've got the Team Skeptic. So you've got a lot of these ball Earth actively trying. I don't think they're trying to prove the globe. I think they're just trying to ridicule flat Earth more per se. Because again, they can't argue. There's nothing to argue about. So all they can do right now is just be children, like ridicule. So it's childish mentality, really, isn't it? If they think, well, yeah, we have to resort to name calling, is what you would do at school. Well, that's where they are. That's where they're at. That's what we're dealing with.
Hold on,
So I
Spurs.
think-
Hold
I
on,
would
Spurs.
agree
Hold
with
on.
you
Hold
because-
on. Go on, Chocolate.
Sorry. Now I was gonna say I would agree with you because 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, these guys were all telling us flat Earth is dead, and We're just here laughing at you, and you fast forward 5 years, and they're still here laughing, and now starting live streams about us.
Well, I've got a different take on that actually, Chocolate. So where you've got the mainstream, your assertion is, hang on a second, isn't the channels with tens of millions of views and people on national television selling the idea of a sphere, isn't it indoctrinated you in school and told you at birth, and isn't that enough? Well, no, because they've got their trench level arguments that need to be permeated to overcome the flat earth arguments, so they need to promote them, hence them setting up a server to permeate the trench arguments. They need to be permeated further throughout the masses.
Ah, I see. So, for an example, like Neil deGrasse Tyson says that Earth has to be spinning underneath a football, right? They can turn to one of their trench level channels and say, "Oh, look, the Earth doesn't rotate underneath the football." You don't expect to see that. Things like that, right?
Exactly. Gotcha. Once you've come to flat Earth and realised that the mainstream narrative from the priests of heliocentrism makes no sense and debunks the assertion we're on a sphere, you need affirmation of your sphere belief. Well, what you need to do is go to the double speakers, and the double speakers will tell you how, no, I know Neil deGrasse Tyson says Earth spun underneath the ball, but it doesn't. And this is how. And should anybody challenge you, this is how you tell them. Conservation of momentum. Do you understand? You don't? Well, then you will get the ridicule that these flat earthers get. Do you understand? Now stand in line.
Get on board.
Nathan, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Have you covered the subject of gravity or not? Sorry, I missed part of it.
I didn't get to it in the housekeeping. I can ask it now,
What's
though.
gravity?
I can ask it now if you want. Any scientific evidence of gravity? Hold on, Moostone. I do have to respond to your question, though. No, we haven't, but we can address it now by asking that housekeeping question, which I don't think we asked. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
What's gravity?
Well, I don't, but I'd like to present, maybe you guys can help me out, an experiment regarding density. Can I upload something on the Discord server? It's just a picture.
Yeah, sure.
So let me go and fetch that.
While you're doing that, what was the observed phenomena, first and foremost? What's being studied in this experiment?
It's helium moving, but I think you'll understand quite quickly. I have it there. Upload.
Right. Will you bring it up?
I've just uploaded it.
Perfect. Is anybody in the G+ panel in the Discord server also?
Give me a second.
Okay,
You're talking about this box with the blue dot in it?
Yeah, correct, exactly.
Okay.
So what's the phenomenon we're observing? Just so I'm clear, what gas moving upwards? Is that the phenomena?
Look, I mean, I'm trying to do something a bit similar to what Sleeping Warrior did.
It's a masterpiece,
so
Nathan.
what I'm supposing what I'm supposing is that what I would observe would be so this is a closed box. Maybe let me start describing that. But this is a closed box, and it's going in from so right to left on these small wheels, and it's filled with air, but it's completely airtight. It's filled with air, and it's got a balloon with helium inside. That is, it's tied by a rope to the ground of the box, right? And this sort of mirrors. And so when you move it in from left to right, from right to left, what I suppose is that the observed phenomenon will be that the balloon goes sort of tilts left because the air mass, so the movement, the acceleration will cause the air to be denser on the right side than on the left side. And so, contrary to what perhaps would happen if if the box were not closed, if the box is closed, actually, the balloon. So it's the tilting of the balloon to on the left side, which is towards the less dense air, which would be the observed phenomenon.
Where's this observed in nature? He said that it was akin to Sleeping Warrior's example. So when I asked him what's the observed phenomenon, he said some things in nature fall, some things rise, and then he gave an example. So he's like, if you see a leaf on the top surface
Oh yeah,
of
sorry,
water,
I missed that part. Sorry,
it might sink.
Well, my bad. I mean,
I didn't
exactly
interrupt you, most stone. Annoying. So he described an observed phenomena of some things rise, some things fall. You can see this, and he gave a quantifiable example that you could observe in nature. Can you give me an example of this in nature?
Okay, sorry for interrupting. It would be the same example as what Sleeping Warrior said, really.
Not really. You're describing a balloon as you accelerate in a car, for example. So this has been demonstrated by Smarter every day. A helium balloon will go forward because the more dense mass of the air rushes to the back, forcing the helium balloon forward, contrary to what you might perceive would visually happen. Well, so what? But this isn't a phenomenon. This isn't an experiment. And what exactly are you trying to prove with this?
Well, the fact that relative density.
Yeah, the alignment. He's pointing at the alignment. This is part of my earlier gravity defense. Remember?
Hold on.
Exactly.
Yeah, the alignment changes.
I'm trying to show the relative density and something that is actually going sideways, because there's always this debate with ballers. Oh, but why does the less? Why would why in a vacuum? Why would the more dense go downwards and less dense upwards? And here we would go sideways, so it would be interesting. That's essentially what I'm trying to.
It's still going up and down. That didn't change. It's just that there's other forces besides relative density disequilibrium also being applied, causing lateral displacement on top of the relative density displacement. So
Correct.
That's how that works.
In your example, the balloon had to be tied to the bottom of the car.
Yeah. Well, my claim is that it would be the fact that air is denser on the left side, on the right side than on the left side, that is causing the displacement of the balloon towards the to the left.
Okay. Fine.
The air was denser on the left before you started moving the box?
No, Owen's just detailed that chocolate. Yes, there was another force.
Still going up.
But,
You can't stop it from going up.
This is fascinating, but I'm failing to see what this proves or disproves.
I was just going to ask, what does this prove?
I was going to say, Moustone, do whatever you want to do, but why do you think you can call this an experiment when it's not a naturally observed phenomenon?
Because I just looked outside and I don't see no helium balloons floating.
Exactly. Hold on 1 second, guys. So QE will have a show running, and we are live, so it's relevant for the live audience. Any chance you can do a quick plug for your show that's coming out at 7 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Central Standard today?
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's Recap plus Coriolis Effect. It's from 2016 with Cathexis. Thanks.
It's Coriolis Effect.
Recap plus a little bit of the Coriolis Effect. Got a little bit of everything in it, I think. I haven't watched the whole thing, but it's a mystery show.
Okay. So if I was to ask if it has any bearing on the fact that you pointed out that you discussed this with Jen Panda on a show around the same sort of time, would you have brought that up in that show? I suppose you don't know if it's a mystery show.
Yeah, it would have been around that time. Yeah, why would you say that?
Because you mentioned it about 3 days ago.
It probably was before that. I mean, Cathexis and I were together then. That's true. That's interesting. I haven't thought about that. Yeah, he couldn't get it. Timmy Clown laughed at him after about an hour and a half.
Fair enough. So be here or be sphere on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel if you are watching this live at 7 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And that's going to be Coriolis along with Mystery Show revisited, so be here or be sphere on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!